Well, if you're in need in housing, sometimes the big question that you have to ask are, what are the resources that are available? Well, today we have Anna Melendez with us, and she's the Chief Program Officer at Nos Quedamos. We stay, and good to have you so much.
Thank you.
Have you with us, and so much information that's out there. But we want to make sure that our viewers get everything they can get. And for people who really are trying to get housing, because housing is a big issue all across New York City, all across the 5 boroughs. But you guys have been working hand in hand with trying to get people housed, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. So we've had, we've been part of a program with New York City Housing, with HPD, the Housing Preservation and Development. It's called Ready to Rent. So part of the program is to help apartment seekers prepare to apply for the low-income tax credit housing that's available on the New York City Housing Connect website. Some of the challenges that we have at Nos Quedamos is the fact that there are so many people in need of housing, and there are not that many options available. Although you see so many affordable housing developments coming up around the city, there are so many barriers to getting the housing. It can be the fact that they might not qualify because of their household income, and there's so many things that people are not aware of. And then there's also this like as people come through our doors, they're like, I want to apply for housing, and they assume that they can apply for public housing, which is NYCHA, and the options that we have at the moment is really applying for the low-income tax credit housing.
Right.
Because the NYCHA developments at the moment, they have like a waiting list of over 250,000 people. So
250,000
people waiting to be housed.
In NYCHA.
In NYCHA.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, we have a lot of people coming through the door saying, I've applied for housing and I've been on the waiting list for over 15 years, almost 20 years. Also for the Section 8 vouchers, which is another option that people may have, where they can apply for a voucher that will help them to qualify for any market rate, and that's a waiting list of over 150,000. So the challenge that we have in our organization, because we started this program in January, and we're coming to the end of the funding cycle, we might not be able to offer the program you know, through HPD, but because of our commitment to the community, we're going to continue to do the work. We've been helping folks to apply for the to affordable housing through the Housing Connect website, and we've already generated a waiting list of our own of over 400 people. So those are people who have not even been seen in our organization. So we're faced with the challenge of how are we going to see them without many resources as far as funding. So, you know, we're asking the city to sit down with organizations like Nos Quedamos, because we're on the ground. We know what it's like day to day. We know what our community needs. And, you know, we just need them to sit down with us and figure out what are the options available and how can we better meet the needs for housing that we have in
Have they
community.
been willing to come to the table and talk to you about this? Because obviously, as you said, you have 400 people that yourself right now that are just on a waiting list. So it's definitely, you've proven the fact that you're really touching a lot of people. What's been the response?
Well, we've been working closely with HPD, and I think that the problem is that there are so many city agencies that are offering affordable housing or that are working towards affordable housing, but the thing is that if we don't work together, then there's no way that we're going to come up with a plan in order to meet the need. So, you know, we need NYCHA at the table, we need HPD at the table, we need DHCR at the table, all of the housing corporations that are, you know, have the resources, which is like the budget, in order to create more of the options for New Yorkers to seek housing.
So what can people do, I mean, in this interim right now? I mean, is there something we can do in terms of raising awareness, letting people know? Is there anything that can happen?
Well, at the moment, what we've been doing is, you know, like just letting people know the different barriers to them qualifying for housing, just so that they know the difference. Because, you know, we're all saying everything is affordable housing, but the reality is that this is not really affordable to everyone. So we really need to come up with a plan where you know, we're creating more housing subsidies for those who are working. You know, like really think of the strategies in order to get people off of these waiting lists so that we can open up the housing that is available for others who are in need.
And when you look at the housing crisis right now, obviously a lot of people are out on waiting lists, as you said. People are getting. How fast are things moving? I mean, do you find that things are moving fast, or are they just extremely slow?
Well, there's a lot of frustration with our community because when they come in and they apply, they assume that they'll be called. But what they're doing is applying to be on a lottery. So, each of these developments, they might have like 15 apartments available for their category of income. So 15 apartments available for 20, 30,000 people or more who are applying. You end up being like, I've seen people who, we go back and we check their the applications that they've submitted, and some people are like 68,000 on the list, 20,000 on the list. So that means that they'll never be called. So this is a lottery, and it means that, they'll apply for as many as they qualify for, not all that is out. So let's say they had 100 buildings that came up, and you only qualify for 2, then your options are very skim.
Right.
The chances are very skim.
Right.
So if you don't get called, it's just a lottery system.
Yeah, it's amazing to look at our system and see how many people are actually caught in the balance, and so many people that really need services and don't have a place to go.
So one of the things that Nos Quedamos is working on, because we are a community development corporation, so we're able to, seek opportunities to build affordable housing. We're actually going to be building something in Hunts Point, but that's also going to be something that's going to go through the lottery system as well. But what we're looking is to see how we can work with the city to find available land, find some of those HDFCs and some of those buildings that the city does have that they haven't had the resources to handle, and having organizations like Nos Quedamos take those on, then maybe we can improve the quality of affordable housing and get more people into these.
Anna Melendez telling us a little bit more about what's going on in Nos Quedamos. Thank you for the great work that you guys are doing, and obviously a great need, and thank you. And of course, you got to come back and share more information so that we can let our public know as well.
Definitely.
All righty, Anna Melendez from Nos Quedamos. Listen, we want you to stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have more open coming up right after this.